Good evening. It is 6 o'clock, August 15th, 2023. All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. Let's start with pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right.
I'm here.
Vice President Luke. Here. Commissioner Nats.
Here.
Commissioner Peterson.
Here.
Commissioner Sweet. Here.
All right, modifications, additions, and changes to the agenda, sir. Karen, all right. Declaration of potential conflicts of interest. Anybody see anything controversial here that you're gonna have to declare? Okay, finding none. Public comment. We have no members of the public here. How about on the screen?
I have it online. Now it's on, how many on the sheet?
Okay. Okay, fantastic. Let's see, public comment, consent agenda. Approval of minutes for commission meeting from July 18, 2023 and August 1st, 2023. Ratification of bills in the amount of $808,445.68. Approval of payroll for July 23rd in the amount of $87,640.70.
Oh, I'll make a motion that we approve this
Consent agenda, okay,
I second it.
all right. We have a motion second to approve the consent agenda as stated. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed unanimously. All right, business action items. Approve next action for strategic business plan.
So we had Annie here from Moss Adams, sort of went over what our options were. I requested to see a copy of the draft that they had done so far. I sent that out earlier this week. And then you also requested knowing where we were financially on that. So we were given a grant by Business Oregon for $60,000. We had spent $50,000 on what we have of that so far. If we were to continue now, we could spend the rest of 10,000 and finish that thing for 60 grand, and it would all have been covered underneath of that grant. However, if we'd like to make any of the other options, then we'll take that 10,000. It's only gonna be 50,000 this time. The other 10,000 will apply, and we'll have to come up with another 40 grand. I've talked to Business Oregon about this. They're aware of it. We wouldn't be out of compliance. They like you to have an every 5 years. We're sitting around 7, I think, but 10 would be out of compliance. So it's certainly time to do one. But all the players are involved. They're aware of why we're here. So
if we were to move, and if we were to start over, do we have budget for that 40K?
I said 40. I got lucky. I said exactly that amount on site. Yeah, guessing that's what this could potentially happen.
Okay.
There was no strategy to that. It just was like 40K.
You didn't have strategy?
Not on that.
Strategic plan?
Nope. I just said if we end up back, I hope we can get it done for that much. So
Right, okay.
My feeling is it seems from any discussions that we've had that we've definitely kind of pivoted from our current direction as far as what we have already proceeded on as far as the current plan, at least in its current form. So I'm open to any suggestions as far as how do you have to move forward, both on redoing it. It could not necessarily be a bad idea. And then timeline, when do we want to postpone it for a couple of months? Do we get kind of some of the basic stuff out of the way and then start a month or two?
I think that there's some strategy to waiting some time to do this so that we can go through some meetings. We can see the direction the board is currently headed, right? And then that'll give us an opportunity to pivot. We also have a few projects that we're putting bows on because we're obligated to do so. So you guys will be able to work through a few projects that we currently have, as well as maybe stop some projects where you're like, yeah, I don't know what this one was about or why we did it or what the reasoning was, but let's set that one to the side. So it might give us a little time to get familiar with support, how it moves, the speed at which things happen, the speed at things which can happen, the fires that pop up along the way, just getting our feet wet a little bit, and that's some of that stuff, I think makes you guys better for putting that strategic business plan together.
Well,
But
I think the question I would have is when is the city gonna be done with theirs? Because I'd like to collaborate with them and make sure ours are kind of lined up and in sync as well.
I think they were towards the end of it, last time I talked to Jordan. I don't have the exact date, but they were in the final stages of it. I know that they're going to utilize the information that they garner at the community picnic. They're gonna do a survey, and that's part of that. They've said that they'll make all that information available to us. There was a time where we really I looked at that really hard, of trying to dovetail those two things together. I think it becomes somewhat difficult when two different entities did it. If you had a single entity that was doing both of ours at the same time, and Moss Adams applied to, I really wish they'd got it, but, probably doable. I mean, it's another piece of information. I don't know how much they're wanting to pump the brakes on theirs. So I guess that's potentially a question.
Well, when they can finish theirs, we can just utilize what they
That,
came up with to piggyback on, I think.
that we can easily do, sure.
Yeah, I think there'd be a real benefit in collaborating with them as we kind of talked, for lack of a better word, our campaign promises, or that we're gonna start with the framework of where we're headed as a community, and what we believe is, we're stewards of our community's resources, so we're gonna get a handle on where the community thinks we need to go as far as long-term viability and quality of life in the community first, and structured around that, and also working heavily with the city, I think is key. I've kind of talked a little bit about a planner that could come into this process. As a lot of what we're going to be doing is largely about planning. How do you change the direction of the community with not just the strategic business plan, but the community development code and that sort of thing. There are some things that could be done with that, and this person I'm speaking of has a vast knowledge of our community and also of planning. He's been a city administrator. He's currently the city administrator for Jervis and does training. In fact, he's got a training in September through Chinook Institute for civic leadership. So I think he would be almost like a great connector between the port and the city, as kind of the connecting thread of how you change development and what things can we do with our community development code and other things that we can do within our power to really kind of tweak where we're headed and have it pull it in line with where we think the community's going.
I think as we work more closely with the city too, it's gonna be important that it's not just the elected officials that are blending their messages and coming together and working together on things, but also finding places where me and the city are handcuffed through policy, where we can't work together the way that we want to work together because of policies that we've had in place over the years that have sort of put us in those two separate camps. So I think that'll be good. We're close with them to start to see sort of where hiccups, where we get each other's way versus where we can help each other.
Right. Where is that connection between us, and what resources do we have that city doesn't have, and how do we both do what we do best? And anyway, so this training, there's been some suggestion by the mayor that we should even consider if there are any commissioners that are interested in taking this training, because this training is all about community development and how you use community development codes, et cetera, and all about planning. So
I'd be interested in that.
yeah, it's towards the end, I think 20 something of September.
Cool. I can take a look at that. Is that something that we'd be interested in? I don't know.
That's
Our
what
commissioners
it
attend?
does, so I have. I mean, the code for the city is different, but code in general.
Right.
Yeah, I'd be
But it would be
interested as well.
beneficial.
As far as our plan though, for the strategic business plan, I'd be kind of in favor of pushing it out to the first of the year. Giving us time to get on our feet wet here, get through all our trainings, and really get a feel for this, and maybe just kick off the new year with the diving into our business plan.
Yeah, that sounds good.
The first of the year works out really well too, because you guys are starting to be able to line up for the next budget season.
Yeah.
Right, as much as we want to do this year, we're a little handcuffed by what that budget did to us, right? So next year, as you're building that strategic business plan, and we're rolling right out of that, right into budget season. and right into the next year where all the magic gets to happen.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm in favor of that. Do we need a motion or just?
Yeah, we need a motion and a vote on that.
Sorry,
We need a motion and a vote on that.
Okay,
I'm in support, as well, delayed for 4 to 6 months. I think it gives us enough time to catch up on a lot of the port training and to see how the stern wheeler does this year. And we're quite 6 to that, so.
somebody want to entertain a motion?
Sure, I move to postpone the strategic business plan creation until the first of the year.
I'll second that.
All right, good motion, second to postpone the strategic business plan until after January 1. All those in favor?
I,
I
Aye.
don't know why I always raise my hand.
You know, that's actually would have been helpful if you said.
Yeah. That way you know that that person actually said aye. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Okay, decide on Cascade Locks Museum Board member and Energy Council representative.
So our previous meeting, how we thought about this? Yeah, I think Pamela was interested in potentially the museum. And you were interested potentially in the.
Vice versa.
I did it in the meeting too, in the minutes, we have it back. in the minutes.
Jeremiah, it's the heat.
Okay, it's the heat.
It's gonna be fight. The heat.
I mean, I'm okay with either one, to be honest, but if there's anybody who really wants the museum, I don't want to stand in anybody's way.
no, I'm interested in I was a little intimidated by it, honestly. But, I look forward to learning and being a participant on that board and,
For the Energy Council.
yeah,
Okay,
There's actually some really amazing opportunities that flow through there, so it would be really great to have somebody that's in it.
yeah, yes, I'm definitely. in it. And with that, I will resign from tourism after this weekend.
Yes.
okay, so we're gonna turn that into a motion for him.
We,
I move to have Pam, appointed to the Energy Council Board as one of their representatives.
I'll second that.
All right, motion and second to place Pam on the Energy Council board. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Could I just note that if there's any meetings that you can't go to, I would happily be in your place.
There are also subcommittees within it. I think that a lot of more action, so the bigger ones that if I feel overwhelmed, I may review the subcommittee information and ask you to go in my stead.
Is that fine?
anybody want to make a motion to approve Carrie Clute for the museum board as well?
I make a motion to, appoint Carrie to the museum board.
I'll second that motion.
All right, then a motion second to approve Carrie Clute for the Cascade Rock Museum board. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, you got it. Awesome. Commissioner comments, anybody have words of wisdom, observations, etc.?
If you go down the line.
We can go down the line.
So typically, so one, historically, this has been a thing that's been done at the port, it's also been done at the city. It is not mandated that we do this. You guys will start to have more things to talk about as you get into these committees, you'll give your reports on the museum, you'll give your reports on that. So there will come a time where you always have something during this, it's not a thing that we have to keep, but it's something that's always been done.
Good.
I don't mind it at all.
Roundhouse meeting?
We don't have to belabor the point, I mean, if somebody wants to go on different gate for a long period of time, that's great. Or if they have something that's really on their heart, they want to share with the community, that's a good time to do it, but
I like them on the agenda.
perfect.
Well, the discussion is good.
Yeah, anybody have anything in particular they want to talk about, things going on in town? I would just make a comment that we have PCT days coming up this weekend, that's gonna be a great event. And our Stern Wheeler, when's the actual start date, are they actually running now, or are they?
So the Stern Wheeler, did cross stuff up?
Oh, that's probably, I'm sorry, that's
Yeah,
either
great.
managers.
No, Stern Wheeler,
That's
Stern Wheeler
Stern Wheeler already.
Stern Wheeler did that's why I go at the end, then we don't have to, so Stern Wheeler, had a soft opening this weekend. So they were doing rides, there's a lot of local citizens taking advantage of the fact that they can ride for free. It was very, I don't know, I like the Stern Wheeler, I make this joke a lot, I'm not a boat guy, and I'm the GM of a port. But there is something sort of special about that boat, it's really hard not to go out there and kind of fall in love with it, whether you're a boat guy or not, so it was fun to be back out there on the water. And you get to see all ranges of ages, and that's really cool. I was excited about it, I was happy to see it in the water.
You need to get a new ID in order to ride.
You do have to get an ID in order to ride, that was something that they worked through.
I saw Senator
Oh, okay.
on it.
They might like you, you might know the
Can I
captions.
show them my picture on the port website?
Probably. Probably. And then the grand opening is this Friday, which dovetails with PCT days, and that's gonna be super cool too. I love when our parks packed like that, and seeing the boat go up and down the river at the same time just adds to it, so very exciting.
I went on the boat and it was awesome. It was super fun. Kevin Tom let all the kids that wanted to get up and steer the boat, and all the kids were just so excited.
Did you hear that?
And all the parents were excited and all of that. It was great. It was awesome.
He was blowing the whistle a lot.
Yeah, it was really nice to get out there and see the boat going, and I'm super excited to see what we can do with that over the next coming months and years. So,
I think the most excited people were on the river. We had probably about at least 10 people following the boat on the first soft opening, and then the next day as well. So everybody's ecstatic out there. Everything looks great inside the boat. They replaced all the ceiling tiles. I think they said they're gonna remove the old wallpaper on the second floor pretty soon, so.
Hope so.
And I've seen a lot of local faces operating the boat, so it seems like they're hiring a lot of locals, so that's great.
And it probably is adding a whole new, whole new bit of excitement for the canoe club, because now they're gonna be trying to, some training to try and catch that wake and surf behind it a little bit.
Yeah, as far as I hear, that's been going on for the last 15 years or so. from what-
Yeah, now you'll have a whole new batch of canoe
Yeah.
club members who'll be training to be able to do that.
except when the kids are driving, they're all over the river.
Yeah, there was one moment when one of the kids started taking over the steering wheel, and I think they lost Val on the wave in the back. He's trying to get back in there.
You know, it was pretty funny.
It's neat to see on Facebook, the videos about behind it, writing it, neat. I'm excited about PCT and Stern Miller, but with the strategic plan, I want to say that I hope as a commission that we can support Jeremiah and his decision making for any kind of structural reorg or any kinds of deficit that you have right now. You know, you don't have support where you need it and stuff like that. So I hope that we can partner with you and help guide you, make connections, tear down barriers, whatever we can do to help you do that, but not decide for you. I don't want to be the decision maker, but I want to really be there for you, and I think the commission, yeah. So
Appreciate
that
it.
as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there.
Now me, now.
Yeah, thanks, man. It'll give you the framework that you need to
Absolutely.
do your job and to, yeah, that'll be a step in the right direction.
Are we going around the table or are we just?
I was gonna ask
I got eyes on me, so I started talking.
corner each of you to see if you have your comments, or would you like to, this format to be more, stream of consciousness kind of,
I think
thing.
improv is the way to go.
Improv works, unless we have a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah.
One thing that's probably on your general manager report that I wanted to bring up, I had a conversation with one of our community members this week. And they wanted to see if we were interviewing multiple commercial brokers for the Flex Six building and not just landing on the one.
Right, that is on my, commissioner's report. So got fairly far down the process with Ann Midbach. She, has submitted her, contract, kind of gone back and forth on a couple of things. It's sitting with Tommy now, for him to review. Her commission falls sort of within standard, what I would call standard. I'm also not gonna talk about it right now, just in case you guys decide you want me to look at a few other folks. I wanted to see what their best foot forward is that they put. The problem with sort of opening it up is it slows things down a little bit.
Right,
So I could go either direction. The person that's reached out to me, his name's Tom. Thank you, Hallie, for that. Seemed to be a really interesting guy, had lots of experience. He is totally somebody I would be interested in seeing what he could do for us. But I also understand the urgency that you guys have and that the board has. The Ann Medenbach decision was somewhat of out of urgency.
right,
It does fall within my parameters to select professional services, so we did things correctly, right? It wouldn't mean that we didn't do things correctly, it would be sort of your value of urgency versus competition.
So is this a exclusive contract or legal contract? Then
Correct,
there are only rep essentially.
Correct.
Correct.
correct, and
Okay.
in my dealings with Ann, we focused really on trying to get a tenant for the entire place. I don't know that we need a broker if I start being willing to partition that out in 10 and 20,000 square foot
Right.
chunks. Those tenants are easy to find. So I really want to focus on the 6 months with whoever it is of that single tenant. Either one of the people that I.
Interesting to see what another broker offers, like if they have different resources they can pull from.
Agreed.
And bigger clients that they talk to, maybe, I don't know.
Agreed.
That's the only concern I have is that
It is,
it might take a little more time to sign another broker by interviewing other people, but it could take more time sticking with one who doesn't have the same resources.
agreed. If the commission also sees it that way, I mean, that would be my recommendation. I would say, well, what's gonna hurt to have one more person come and take a look at this and tell us what they can do for us? But I wasn't sure based on how much urgency was expressed at the last meeting.
I think in the end, timeline wise, it probably comes out to a wash.
Okay.
In my opinion, I don't know what you guys think.
How much of a timeline delay would it be if we did entertain other bids on this?
So
This guy is eager, could you come tomorrow and look at the building?
Yeah. Right, yeah, for sure. Like, once I engage him, it'll happen fairly quickly. Again, for the professional service, so it falls into me to select that. I don't have to. If you guys want to be part of that, you can too, and we can do a whole process where they come through. Thank you. It's not a small dollar figure though, right? So that's the part that has me wanting to look for that competition and knowing that exactly what we're getting. I really like Ann, I like the work that she's done for us previously, bringing in Cabo. But this is our first time hiring brokers, so I think it probably warrants us seeing what's out there.
I would imagine the commission fees are relatively similar. It's more, who can they bring in?
Yeah, I believe there will be her within by was able to research it being industry standard. Sure would be nice to have another one to compare it to.
So do we have options as far as, I know one of the issues in my mind with the building is our interest rate, and are there other ways that we could bring down that per square foot cost as far as our break even point on that? Because needless to say, if we're gonna be breaking the building up, we're gonna be doing two things. We're gonna be probably having to draw down more on our own, therefore raising the sort of price we gotta get. So is there a strategy that we can use? Whether it's finding some other sort of alternate financing or longer term or other things, that's kind of challenge, I guess, as far as the analysis of what the end impact is as far as
And that's gonna be so we have a history of writing leases in a somewhat antiquated sort of way. And we've been moving away from that. Extapa was a triple net lease, right? And that is the direction that we would like to move with all of our leases. Talking with Ann, she has believes that we had it overpriced based on the way that our lease was written. So whoever I work with, we're gonna sit down with Chuck and figure out how we can bring that square footage price down. The way it was previously written and it had us being responsible for a lot of stuff with inside the building, a lot of repairs, it had us being responsible for plowing out the snow, right? So all those costs are sort of built into it. And recommendation coming from Ann and Tommy too, right? He's been trying to get triple net leases forever. I think we'll be able to bring that square footage price down. That's what Ann says. But that'll be one of the very first things that we do with whoever the broker is we'll sit down and we'll go through exactly how we can get to and hopefully build in their fee too into that. So.
Right.
Yeah, I certainly will start with the answer. Okay, perfect. Right, on my report, we took a pause there. Oh, we hadn't started our report, I was just answering you, huh? Yep. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry,
We're still on commissioner comments.
that was just on the top of my list.
Last week or a week before, I forget, got invited out to the ODOT tour of the Mitchell Point Tunnel, which is really cool.
Yeah,
Probably a group of about 40 to 50 people.
how far in advance did you find out about that?
Day of or the day before. It was pretty last minute.
My job,
Yeah.
it's not quite that flexible.
Work kind of my style when I found out, I kind of work.
But it was really interesting to see all the work going into it, and I asked a few of the questions of whether they funded the whole highway system now that they've been working on for the last 30 years, and they said they've secured the funding for the last 1.3 miles, so just be a matter of a couple of years for those projects to get done. But for Mitchell Point, they're estimated to be done by spring. I think the latest they can extend the contract is to June. So, but just walking through that tunnel just really reminded me of some of the tunnels east of here, like Mosier Twin Tunnels. So it's really interesting to see that, and they preserved it in a way that looks like the old black and white photos when it originally was the Columbia Historic Highway. So, yeah, it's pretty much done on the west side, or actually the east side, and then the west side of the tunnel. They're still doing a lot of entrance work, and then also some of the viewing points. They're putting up bars to protect because it literally sits over the highway system there. So they still have a bunch of safety stuff to take care of. So.
That would be a big boom for the, when that whole system gets finished, that would be a big boom for the e-bike industry.
I can't wait to take mine down.
Yeah.
As far as just any of my just general comments, I did get on the stern wheeler over the weekend. It was great. New flooring, new ceiling. You could actually hear people talk over the intercom, which was awesome. It was super fun to go out there. So thanks to everybody that helped with that. A couple of other things. I don't know if it'll just be on the next agenda, but just to vocalize it. Potentially revisiting our laws as far as alcohol use is concerned at the Marina Park. I'd like to have a discussion on that, see what we can do, if there's any changes that we can do there. And then I know that historically, there's just been some questions as far as like digitizing the port moving forward, and then any of the trainings that we've talked about. So if there's any update that we have there, I would appreciate those. Yeah. Cool, and that's it. Oh, and I'm super pumped for PCT Day, so tell all your friends. Someone told me today that they're anticipating over 3,500 people, and I was like, that is 3x of our town. So I'm excited about it.
Because my birthday Saturday is alcohol monitors.
Nice.
Right. I was wearing one of those beverage enforcement shirts. I thought they were really.
I'm forcing you to finish this beverage.
Oh, that's what they mean by alcohol enforcement.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a great picture last year of one of the alcohol enforcement officers playing beer pong.
And that's really the main things on my mind. All right. Oh, I do want to say thank you for having a very short agenda. I think this might be a record meeting if we can get.
Absolutely. So, I guess the only comment I have is, Yeah, PCT Day is excited about that. The Bridge of the Gods, run thing was fantastic, very well organized. And I got across the bridge at just the right time, between two of the,
Openings.
two of the closings and just man, I couldn't have timed that better. But, no, that was a great event. Crazy to see so many people here in town. A lot of them stuck around and, you probably had to have a break for your that is new business, it's like.
I wish. I was like,
But also I'd like to say, Cascade Locks is one person hiring population now. My son had our seventh grandchild and not his seventh, but in total. But little Margot Millie Lorang was born yesterday and doing great. She's gorgeous and she's gonna be a voter here someday, I hope. So anyway, yeah, it was great.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
And yeah, I was sad that I didn't get to go on that tunnel tour, but I solved that problem this week. I just told my boss, I said, I just suck and I'm retiring, so. And I'm reserving what little bit of dollars I have left before my social security started taking money back from me, and I did that. Some of the guys in my department may want vacation and I can go and fill in for them, so I said, still keep me on the payroll, but I'm not gonna be showing most of it.
Nice.
So,
Good for you, congratulations on that.
it's exciting, it's a good week, so anyway, on to you.
I can't really top that,
Yeah, this is the one and out.
I did want to, I just kind of thought of something though, that I know that I've heard a lot of excitement from the town on, and I've never been part of it or participated in it, that happened before my time, but the Sternwheeler days. Now that the Sternwheeler is back, what was it? I want to know more about it, and is it something we can bring back? Because it sounds like something the whole community was really excited about. And why did it end?
I think so my understanding of it is that the Lions Club is headed that up.
Yeah, we just literally use our card, but the
Do you wanna tell us about Sterling Day?
Steering wheel days was great, there was, activities, food vendors, breakfast, everything, but they all have passed away and there's no Lions Club anymore. And it was never a court activity, it's just that we let them use our facility.
I think we did a
Leading up to the demise of Sternwheeler days was both the aging of the Lions and the fact that for several years running, it was supposed to be a fundraiser for the Lions Club that they gave them scholarships and things like that. And each year that margin became smaller and smaller to where it got to the point where it was not generating enough revenue for the amount of effort that it was taking on the part of the Lions, and they were getting tired and burned out, and attendance, each year when it didn't come off quite as well, then attendance was down, and so both attendance being down and revenue being down, kind of, it ended with a bang, though. It was a race between two Sternwheelers, and one of the Sternwheelers crashed, because they weren't as experienced with the eddies and stuff of the water around the lock system, and they started drifting backwards and destroyed their paddle, and this was a historic boat. It was basically a museum that kind of sat in the water and never went anywhere.
Oh, no.
And they brought it out here and decided to race here. Our Sternwheeler won, but the other Sternwheeler kind of hit the rocks and busted up their paddle wheel, and I don't know how much it cost them to renovate that. So, like I said, it was great excitement for the local community, but not so much for the owners of the people of the historic, other historic paddle wheeler. So, but I've kind of thrown out an idea of, doing some other sort of event, similar-ish. I don't know who will run it. I'm the idea guy. Let's somebody else
Maybe
figure out.
we can get Teddy Light and all.
So, back in the day, our school was the Pirates. And this was, so I thought about, what if we come up with Pirate Days? And we get,
Sternwheeler?
pirate themed with Sternwheeler, and we get, Pirates, which is kind of a group out of Portland that are big pirate enthusiast, it might be kind of an exciting event, so there might be some other types of events that we might consider. Another thought was, I don't know if anybody's familiar with kinetic sculpture races. Kinetic sculpture race is a big, it's kind of like Pluton, which they had down in Portland, which was like, see how far you can float and fly off the end of the dock.
I think they call that the Portland Soapbox Derby on Mount Tabor, where you use gravity to roll your go-kart down the hill.
Yeah, well, this was kinetic sculpture race was a, almost combination of parade float and multi-amphibious type vehicle that had to go in the water, had to go through the mud. And, there's a couple of places, down in Northern California, actually, up in Washington, but look at kinetic sculpture race, Ventura County does a big one. And it's like sometimes, a 2-day event. And anyway, it's a big draw, it's very exciting, so basically people are creating this combination of parade floats and things that actually have to be powered by people. They have to go in the water and on land and anyway.
No, I really like that idea, whether it's sculpture related or something else, because like right now here in the town, obviously in the summertime, a lot of tourism comes in and there's a lot of things that are here, but shoulder season, if there was some, it just seems like a perfect opportunity for additional economic like advancement for our town and to create something, an event that's kind of shoulder season and is an event where people will come out for it, will help the economic viability of the town and all the people that work here. So again, idea guy, I don't know if I'm gonna be the one managing that, but I do like that idea for sure. Yeah.
One thing that,
Okay.
one thing about the stern wheeler too, we used to have an open water swim that ran for 79 years. But it was mainly over at the Port of Hood River until I think around Eagle Creek prior, they started bringing it over to Cascade Locks. But you'd swim from Stevenson to Cascade Locks and the stern wheeler would actually drop all the race participants off in the water out there. It'd be interesting to see if Jetty Light would be interested in future events like that.
Sure.
I know there's a lot of potential for another open water swim event in the Gorge area.
Yeah, I think we could bring back Sterling days and possibly rebrand it as a different event. It sort of fits with where we are now. Gorge Community Club and then being behind the Sterling has almost become a thing as big as the Sterling, right? So.
I was gonna say, from being on tourism, they've discussed that. They've also talked about other festivals like Festival of the Nations and, different things. So we could tap their minds for ideas too, or maybe get them to help facilitate.
Yeah, it'd be exciting.
Anything else? I think it's still on you.
No, I'm done. Are we done?
Make it through.
Yeah, you gotta wait, you're
You guys covered most things. Want to get updated, so we're meeting with the city next week, conditional use permit for, Extava. They asked for a traffic, study for the restaurant. It looks like it's something that, we're gonna be able to do through Darren. So we're jumping through all the hoops and doing everything that we need to do this time, and I think it has a nice spotlight that everybody's seeing. That's probably more than it needs to be. Yeah, we're having to do a traffic study. So we're doing that, and we're excited to get Xstop through that process, and excited to have the city working with us on that. And I think a lot of people.
What the CUP is dependent on?
And then that's part of what they wanted with the CUP. The study's not gonna move the restaurant, it's staying in a restaurant, there's only parking spots, it's just a hoop and we're jumping through it. But I think more people right now are kind of watching the hoops, and Commissioner Peterson just had to do this with the incubator space, and I think it's good to highlight that was difficult, was it not? It was difficult and expensive, and
Yeah,
I don't think at the time a lot of people were really watching that. So it's good. This is one of those things where all the elected officials are saying, hey, we really need to work it together really well. And then we're bound a little bit by policy. So that we also will begin working on Flex 6 later this month. So Flex 6 had a water pipe break in the winter, and we somewhat held up on repairing that as we moved through the roundhouse deal. There was a lot of discussion that we were going to end up doing a ton of tenant improvements in there, so it didn't really necessarily make sense for us to do those repairs until we knew what we were going with it. At this point, I wanted to show its very best, right? So we are finishing those repairs. We got a number of different, we didn't get them, we can say we got a number of different quotes for it. We didn't, the insurance company just found somebody that was gonna repair it. But the repair cost they got were $120,000. So we went out there and took a look at it with Todd, who was our maintenance manager. And said, do we really need $120,000 to do this? And one of the biggest expenses of it was the painting. So they took a chunk of drywall out about this big around the entire perimeter of the building. And what you'll have to do is replace that drywall, texture it, and then blend the paint. And so what we did is we just cashed $120,000 insurance check, and we're gonna paint a stripe. So now it'll be a stripe across the bottom, and it'll be fancy and pretty, and saved 70 grand. So we'll start working on that here in the next couple of weeks. Everything else you kind of touched on it.
We'll probably need that extra money to put towards the actual building.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. It's entirely possible.
Chair rail all the way around your industrial building.
So yeah, that was all I had. We covered all the other ones. Dan Benbach was a big one, Stern Wheeler, conditional use permit. That is it, record time.
Cool. Excellent. All right, well. if there's-
I will mention that your next meeting, bring something to eat, because it's stacking up. There's a lot of stuff for us to get through in that business meeting, and the SDAO is coming out to go over your commission policies. So look through your manual, read through it, make sure you understand it, and be able to ask questions where you don't see things where you're like, why do you do it this way, right? This is a good opportunity to get him in front of me who just wrote this manual. But he's gonna probably take 90 minutes of our time, but it's a really, really good use of 90 minutes.
If,
Thank you for that.
if it's going to be over 85 degrees outside, can we look at a different location?
We can try, it's top, location here is top, we've done it,
House 3 seems to
it's really
be,
small.
it is, but.
I mean, if this is all who shows up, then yes, we can all get in house 3, no problem, it's just always how many people come, but yeah, we can give it a whirl, I'm not.
Our water community apparently trusts us now and doesn't join our calls very much anymore, or at least join us in person. I don't blame them for not wanting to be here when it's 100 degrees outside though.
It should be cooled down by then.
I hope so.
Usually it's
September
not.
5th.
As far as next week's agenda is concerned, I
September 5th.
mentioned this, I don't know. If we'll be on it just yet. But I know at the last meeting, we were talking about the new parking lot and the number of. E-charging spots.
Yeah, we haven't got our quote back on that yet.
Okay.
And that's really not a thing that's come to the commission for approval yet, even, it's not even the thing that we're doing, right, we're just sort of doing the groundwork on it to bring it to you guys to see if it's something you want us to spend time on, but yes, that would
I
be.
was curious if that was a big part of the discussion.
Yep.
I'm gonna follow up with that list of projects.
Yes. The list of projects. Excellent, it's done, I just can't bring myself to send it, I'm like, I know there's something else, I know there's something,
Send it, if there's something else you can send that to.
I'll send it right after. How about that?
Is there anything else to come before the commission?
Just before the meeting, I received an email from a concerned citizen about the beach area, the Marine Park, so I'd like to add it to the packet for next meeting.
Feature.
Well, the MCU.
Okay, concerned about not having access to it or?
Just feature of, I believe, the beach area and wanting to maintain it as a mixed use area for various community members and organizations.
Yeah.
So,
You were all CC'd on it, so
Yeah.
I saw.
Okay, perfect. Well, if there's nothing else coming before the commission, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will motion to adjourn in record time.
now, second.
All right, motion second to adjourn, now all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're adjourned. Well done. Thank you all for joining us.
I will say, I do like the structure of. First